Hey gang, I'm Paul with STUDPACK. Welcome back to our channel. We have an exciting video for you today and a fun weekend project for Jordan and I. Now, as you can see, I'm not in one of our typical remodels. I'm actually in the man cave of one of my best buds. And I've actually helped him do quite a few projects here. But he's got a new project for us. He bought a brand new car and was backing it in the other night. He trailered it 600 miles, got home in the middle of the night, tried to back it in, and the exterior lights did not work. So his stress level was off the charts. Why was his stress level so high? Because he was backing in this beast, a 2022 ZL1 1LE. This is the first 1LE that Chevy has painted in this vivid orange metallic color, and it is a beautiful machine. So he called me on the phone and said, hey Paul, can y'all come help me out over here? I need some new exterior lights. I bought some awesome super bright LEDs. They have motion sensors, but I don't know how to put them up. So I said, sure, me and Jordan will be there in the morning, and here we are. But we have a few challenges. This is a 50-year-old commercial building, 3-phase, so who knows what we're gonna find on the electrical side. And these lights range in difficulty from very easy to very hard. So we're gonna take you step by step, every detail, and let's have some fun installing some lights. All right, light number 1, and this is the easy one. Now, there is an emergency exit light on the other side of this wall, and this light is being fed from that junction box for the exit light. This light also has its own switch. It's in the off position, but we are gonna check it, obviously, when we get this apart. And I am not expecting to find ground wires here, because in this commercial building, they use the conduit as the ground path, right? And there you go. You do not see a ground, just the switch leg and the neutral. Let's take these off, confirm that the power is off, and replace this light. All right, we've got the old light off, so let's see if we have voltage. The switch is on, obviously, and I love this Fluke T5600 tester. It's got AC and DC auto selection right here on the voltage side. I can check current on the amperage setting through these open jaws, and I can check continuity right there. It does everything I need to do. So let's put it on voltage and see if we have 120 volts between the hot and the neutral. And we do. You get that, Jordan?
Yep.
Now let's see if we have a ground. I'm gonna go from the hot to the box, and there we go. We have 126 volts from the hot to the box, which is exactly what I expected. There's no ground wire. They're using the conduits and the metal boxes that go all the way back to the panel as a current path to trip the breaker. So if this black wire here were to ever touch the box, it's gonna trip the breaker immediately. Now, if you notice when we took off the old light, it did not have a ground wire, but our new one does. Now, I could install this without connecting this wire right here, the green one, and it would work fine. But since it comes with a ground wire, I'm gonna connect it. Now, how am I gonna connect that ground wire to this box? Well, check it out. Let me make this safe first. You see that hole right there? It is not threaded, but it is to accept a ground screw. And this is a thread forming screw. I can drive it in that hole and it's gonna cut its own threads into that hole, and I can bond this ground wire to the box so it's safe and I have a ground fault path. Now, it's too hard to put this little wire under that screw, so I got a little jumper here somewhere. There we go. I'm gonna put this wire on there and then we'll hook it up. Check that out. I can feel that biting in really well. Let me switch screwdrivers here. I should get my square drive out. I think I will. I'm gonna switch the square drive up here on this ladder. There it is. Let me see if that's the one. So this is basically the ratcheting version of Klein's 10-in-1 tool. Love this thing. Big shout out to Klein. You can also see I'm wearing my Klein magnetic. You can also see I'm wearing my Klein magnetic wristband for all the screws. Now I can really torque that screw down with that square drive. These ground screws are made for slotted Phillips, but square drive is really the way to go. You can see how that's not camming out at all. Boom. Now I have a great bond to the ground. Let's hook up that light. Now the box comes with this mounting strap, and the light mounts to the strap with one screw right through the middle into that tapped hole. So I'm going to mount the strap onto our existing box. Now it does have this ground screw here, but I think it's much better to bond our ground to the main box. That way I'm not relying on this connection between the strap and the box for the ground. And this guy's really short anyway, look at that. That's going to be a pain to get a wire under. So let's mount this strap, and then we're ready to wire up our light. Cool. Our strap is on. Now let's wire up the light. Don't forget the weatherproof gasket. Very important. We'll do the ground first. We'll take the stranded wire, pre-twist it, and take a little bit of a wrap around the solid wire. I love these tan wire nuts by Ideal. They're my favorite. Put that on there. This is always where it's tough, right? You're working by yourself. You got to have the light hanging there by the ground while you hook up the other two, but it'll be fine. All right, neutral next. Let me straighten those out a little bit. I don't want to cut the wire if I don't have to. We don't get to work with stranded wire too much, huh? It's actually my favorite, back in the commercial days. In fact, we have a video coming up where we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to work with stranded wire, how to terminate it, things like that.
What's that video?
I think we should keep it top secret, dude.
All right.
All right. All right, now the hot. I could cut these. Well, in fact, why don't we do that on this one? I got enough wire. That's kind of a mess right there, right? Trim them off. Much better. And tighten the wire nut. And we're done. Now let's mount it. Nicely fold all these back behind that mounting strap. And what I always do, I always make sure there's nothing behind this hole where the screw's gonna go. In other words, I don't want a wire that's gonna get pinched back here by that screw. Motion sensor down like that.
Yep.
And it's got this tearaway film. I guess I should tear it away, huh?
I think you're trying to stick to the light.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't want it to stick to the box, and
right.
That gives the next guy trouble, right? There, like that. See the cutout for the wires right here? Beautiful. And then the screw is the smaller one, and it's got a little nylon washer, help keep water out. And now we just gotta find that hole in the strap. Oh, now I'm in. Tighten. Yep, I'm started. Looking right at the sun. Are we straight? Should I get the laser level to see if it's straight? Done.
Good work.
There's one. All right, I'm gonna hit the switch. As soon as we energize it, it should come on. We on?
Yep.
Nice job, bud. My bud can mess with all the settings. He knows what he wants as far as the time delay and all that. Let's go hit number 2. All right, light number 2, and you can already tell there are some differences, right? Originally, the light was down here at this box. It's very similar to the one on the back of the building that we just did. It's being fed right here from inside the building. But at some point, someone came in and extended it higher to this box. Now you'll notice they ran 14 gauge Romex inside that conduit, and it's actually attached to this 12 gauge stranded that you saw on the other light. It's on a 20 amp circuit. And we have this ground wire that wasn't terminated on each end, but we don't need it terminated on each end, right? Because we already explained the ground on this building. But let's just check to see if we have a proper ground up here on this box. The switch is on inside, so we should have power on this black right here. I'm gonna go hot to neutral first. Oh, turn the meter on. Gonna go hot to neutral, 125 volts. Now, let's go hot to ground, see if we have a circuit. Look at that, 30 volts. So we have a bad ground somewhere. It's probably in these connections on this EMT. We've got a set screw connector here, a compression type connector here. So I can't bond my ground to this box because I don't have a good ground. Now what I could do is hook the wire up for my light to this wire and bond the other end to this box. But why don't we remove this Romex and see if we can clean this up and do a little bit better. Just cut this off. Boom. That was easy. I happen to have some 12 gauge in the truck. Let's run it right here and figure out how we're going to get a ground from this box to this one. Now the reason we're switching to 12 gauge is because of the wire size. This is a 20 amp circuit. You need 12 gauge wire for that. The 14 gauge wire I pulled out is only rated for 15 amps. Would it have worked? Of course it would have worked. But we want to make sure that all the wiring is of the same size. So I happen to have some solid on the truck, and I'm going to pull it through just like that. How easy was that to fix? Now I did put a ground in there because what I'm going to do, I'm going to bond this end to the box and to the light, and then I'm going to bond the other end to this box where we know we have a known ground. Is it the best way? No, but at least it gives me a ground. What is the best way? It would be to take all this apart and replace this conduit and the fittings so we have a proper path all the way back to the panel for our ground. All right, now that I explained all that, let's wire up this light. I really can't wrap that around that screw tight enough, so I just use my strippers and check it out. Now we're tight. Tighten that screw, and we'll be ready to install this fixture, and then I'll worry about this box on the bottom at the end. All right, buddy, I'll strip these, and we'll get that light. Is it still in the box?
Nope, I unboxed it.
Awesome. On second thought, let's go ahead and wire up this box completely, and then we can show everybody that we have a proper ground up here at this upper box. So how am I going to get a proper ground if the conduit is not doing the job it's supposed to? Well, I'm going to use the ground wire that I ran. And I bonded it to this box right here under that screw. Of course, it's also going to be attached to the light fixture. And then I'm going to bond this end to this box. And how am I going to do that? Because remember, this one doesn't have that handy post that the other one did where we could put the ground screw right in the box. It doesn't have any tapped holes in the back at all. And I'm not a fan of wrapping it around that screw. To me, that's a big no-no. So all I can do with the stuff I have on my truck is to drill and tap a hole right there. And we're going to put a ground screw right there and bond this wire to the box. How did I make that hole? I drilled a 1/8 inch hole, and then I used a 6-in-1 tap made by Ideal Industries, and it's got all the common taps that you would ever need for electrical work. Coarse thread on one end and fine thread on the other. This screw happens to be the biggest one on this side, 1032. So we're going to put a loop in here, and I have to start the wire first because, well, you're going to see why. I don't have any room to put it in there after the fact. I'm kind of at a bit of an angle. There we go. You hear that nice ratcheting action? Perfect. Now we've got a nice solid ground. Tell you what, why don't we hook these two up and we'll show you that with our meter. All right, why don't you turn on that light switch and let's see how we did up top. All right, 125 volts between the hot and the neutral. Now I'm gonna go hot to the box. Perfect. There we go. Now we have a proper ground. And all it took was to bond that wire to this box that did not have the proper ground. All right, let's hook up the light and go on to number 3. See, I'm pre-twisting that stranded around the solid, and I want the end of the stranded wire and the end of the solid wire to be together. Oh, come on. So that it doesn't move, I'm holding it with my left hand. Now it's ready for the wire nut. Let's put this strap on, we're almost done. Test mode. All right, bud, you want to flip that switch?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, max and max. Maybe down a little bit and, all right. Let's put this cover back on. All right, let's put this bottom cover on, and I know somebody's gonna comment that these wire nuts should be facing up like that. Sometimes. You think Steve's gonna be mad at me because I didn't put the painted screws back on this one?
I like the new ones.
Yeah. Light number 2 is done. Now, light number 3 is next, the most complicated one. All right, here is light number 3. Got this old box right here. It used to be mounted way up here above this roller shade, but they took it down to make room for the roller shade. And then we also had this old electric contractor's entrance sign. That's what it said. So we're actually gonna remove this. Look at that, that's stainless steel. We're gonna take this down and he's gonna repurpose it for inside the shop. Won't that look cool?
Yeah.
So that's our first step. We got 2 reds coming out of this conduit from this light. So they must have used one of those as a neutral, but they've long since been disconnected. And this red that's capped coming out of the building must be the switch leg for this light. And the black right here is the switch leg for that light. So let's disassemble all this and remove this old contractor's entrance sign. That's off. Looks like we're good. Looks like a 3/4 inch by half bushing. Let's take this out. There we go. That's 3/4 inch pipe size, so they used the 3/4 by half bushing to put in this 1/2 inch connector. Cool. All right, let's take this sign down. Is there a screw on the back, Jordan?
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
All right, let's see how this thing's connected to the awning. All right, I see 2 screws right here. Let me disconnect. Well, I don't need to disconnect the power. I'm already disconnected right there. All right, let's get some light on there. Or maybe I can just see what that is. Dude, 3-inch screw. Here, you get to do the other one.
Nice.
Ooh, that old ballast is heavy.
I'm sure that doesn't work.
You gonna be able to get it? Oh my God.
I think I might try using a half screws or whatever. Maybe 1 inch. It's still going. It's not just spinning, huh?
No. My arm is.
Screaming.
Oh.
It's only 3 inches, man. Come on, look at the size of that thing. Look. Holy cow.
All right, we got all the electrical pulled out of here. All that's left is this box. And we're just gonna remount it to the wall right up here. Let me come in. Perfect. All right, time to put the light on. All right, this box is ready to go, but remember, we don't have a way to bond the ground wire on our light fixture to this box. But check it out. It has that same little boss on it. See right here I'm pointing? That first light we did had. It is made for a ground screw. It's not threaded. The ground screw cuts its own threads. That's hard to get to, so what I do, I've already made my loop in my wire. I'm gonna put the screw in there. I'm gonna pinch that closed. And that's a holder for me to put it in there and tighten that screw. Nice. Oh, this Klein ratcheting screwdriver is a bomb, man. Love that. Boom. All right, let's grab that light. Well, let's put up that mounting strap, right?
Right.
It should adapt to this box just like it mounted to the other round boxes. All right, gang, I gotta mount this strap on this box. These holes right here, 632 screws. This strap only comes with 832 screws, so I don't have any 632. But what can I do? I can take my 6-in-1 tapping tool. I've already got it started at the 632 thread. I'm just gonna keep going, and the next larger thread on it is 832. It'll cut new threads and enlarge that hole. It's threading. All right, that one's done. Now do the top one. It's a good little trick to get you out of a jam if you don't have the right size screw.
The computer for 500 miles ain't letting it do shit.
Oh.
Over 3,000 RPM.
Really?
Yeah, so you can't do nothing for 500 miles.
Oh, all right.
Because
Sweet.
Whoa.
Yep, it works. All right, turn it off. All right, now he wants this aiming towards the gate to pick up any vehicles that might be approaching. So that's all we got to do right there. Just like that.
Boom.
Yep, it's spinning on this lock nut. So you can see how it's rotating right there. To hold it in place, I'm gonna tap that lock nut to hold this where it, just like that. That'll hold it. Perfect. Let's get out of here. I don't even want to know what time it is. Alrighty guys, we are wrapped up with this project and the lighting is epic out here. My buddy's not gonna have any problem backing in. He's not much help, but he's sure to get us some pizza and beer, so we're gonna enjoy that, along with some music and some cars. Make sure your like button is bonded, smash it for us, get down below, drop us a comment, ask a question, and we'll see you on our next video.